Be using and creating all this kind of stuff on the left and building or adding to these dinosaurs. So let's open the start file. Choose File Open and open up the L4 start.ai file. And we're going to save this. So choose File, Save As. If you see the Cloud Document dialog box, click on Save on your computer. And we're going to change the name to Dinosaurs. And go ahead and put it in the same folder, Lesson 4. Make sure that the format or file type is Illustrator and save it. Click OK in the Illustrator Options dialog here. And we're just going to reset the workspace. So you can click on the workspace switcher up here, make sure Essentials is selected, and then choose Reset Essentials. That way we see everything the same. And we're going to start by editing some paths. First type of edit we're going to make is cutting with the scissors tool, which is super useful. Click the View menu and make sure that the Smart Guides option is selected. It's on. That way we can see some different Smart Guides going on to help us align things. Choose one, Dino 1. You should see it from down here. It's already chosen. And then fit the artboard in the window. So choose View, Fit Artboard in Window. Now we can see we're going to work on this stuff right up here. All right, select the selection tool over here in the toolbar and click on the purple shape over here on the left side of the artboard, and let's zoom in. I'm going to press Command and plus on Mac or Control and plus on Windows, and I'm going to do that a few times here so we can get in pretty close. All right, with the shape selected in the toolbar, press and hold on the eraser tool and select the scissors tool. Scissors tool is meant to cut a path to open it up. So come out to the middle here, and you're going to see probably the word intersect there. Click. That's going to cut the path right there so that it now is two separate ends you can move around. Select the direct selection tool over here. Come to that anchor, and what you want to do is this. Just drag it up like that. So I don't know how far we're going to go. Probably something like that. That looks good. Now, from where you originally cut, drag this one up, and it should align to the top. This is not going to be perfect. That's okay, but that looks pretty good right there. Now you can see that this path is not closed because the stroke, the yellow, is not continuing. Now if we want the yellow stroke to go all the way around, we can actually join these two endpoints to make it a closed path. And that's what you'll do. Select the selection tool, click away from the path, and then click to reselect it. If you didn't do that, the last two anchor points, or the last anchor point rather, would still be selected and it would do some weird things. So we need the whole thing selected. All right, come down over here in the Properties panel and click the Join button. You can see that it just connected the two endpoints, and now the stroke goes all the way around. In the Properties panel, change the stroke to 0 so we can get rid of it. I'm just going to keep clicking down here till you see 0 and it'll go blank. Next, we're going to round the corners on the top of the shape. So select the direct selection tool and drag across the top two anchors here. You can see something like that. Take the corner radius widget, one of these, either one, and drag toward the center until you can't drag any further. It'll be red, something like that, and let go. Choose Select, Deselect, and save your file. We've got part of the dinosaur made. Now if we want the yellow stroke to go all the way around, we can actually join these two endpoints to make it a closed path. And that's what you'll do. Select the selection tool, click away from the path, and then click to reselect it. If you didn't do that, the last two anchor points, or the last anchor point rather, would still be selected and it would do some weird things. So we need the whole thing selected. All right, come down over here in the Properties panel and click the Join button. You can see that it just connected the two endpoints, and now the stroke goes all the way around. In the Properties panel, change the stroke to 0, so we can get rid of it. I'm just going to keep clicking down here till you see 0, and it'll go blank. Next, we're going to round the corners on the top of the shape. So select the Direct Selection tool and drag across the top two anchors here. You can see something like that. Take the corner radius widget, one of these, either one, and drag toward the center until you can't drag any further. It'll be red, something like that, and let go. Choose Select, Deselect, and save your file. We've got part of the dinosaur made. Another easy way to cut shapes is using the knife tool. So we're going to cut up a dinosaur shape and add it to the final. Press the spacebar to access the hand tool and drag so you see the green shape to the right. Now mine is actually kind of big, so I might zoom out a little bit here. So I'm going to use Command minus or Control minus or View zoom out so we can see it. Okay, with the selection tool selected, click that green shape. Now we need to get a tool that we don't have out here. So click Edit Toolbar down here, and we can see that if you scroll, you might need to scroll in here, but if you scroll in here, you should see it's kind of down here. There's the knife tool right there. Why don't you drag that directly on top of this scissors tool, which is hanging out here, and let go. And that's going to add it to the toolbar. Now you can press the Escape key to hide the tools menu, and that should be selected, the knife tool. All right, with the knife tool now selected, come over here, and we're going to draw a U. So just starting up here, drag down and across and up, and you're just going to cut. You basically just cut that. That's now two different shapes. You can do something different with it. So choose Select, Deselect, and we're going to change the color. So select the selection tool and click in the top there, and you can see it's a separate shape. Don't do that. So just trying to show you. Click the fill color box over here, and we're just going to choose maybe a darker green. Go to the right here. Then you can choose Select, Deselect. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut in a straight line with the knife. In the last video, you cut this out, but now we're going to cut in a perfectly straight line with the knife tool. So click the large light green shape, and we're going to basically cut it in half. So select the knife tool again. Come up top. Now this time we want to be a little more precise here. So select Caps Lock, the Caps Lock key, press that, and you should see that it shows you little crosshairs, which is a little bit easier to see kind of where you're going to cut. Press and hold Option Shift on Mac or Alt Shift on Windows and drag all the way down through. And you're going to see that once you get to the bottom, let go of the mouse, then the key, and that actually makes it so it's perfectly straight and perfectly vertical. So you go straight up and down. Now we're going to make a straight cut, but it's going to be kind of at an angle. So press Option on Mac or Alt on Windows, just that key, and drag from up here. And you can see you can cut in a straight line, but it's wherever you want. Right down there. Let go of the mouse, and then the key. Choose Select, Deselect, and we're going to now take what we cut, that piece right there, and change the color. So select the selection tool, click that middle shape that's left when you cut it out, then click the fill color box over here, and let's choose a lighter color, maybe like that. All right, drag across all the green shapes to select them, and let's group them together by clicking Group down here, and then press the Caps Lock key to turn it off, so you won't see crosshairs anymore with the knife tool. Up next, we're going to look at outlining strokes. This is going to make more sense, honestly, when you see it. So let's do it. Press the space bar to get to the hand tool and drag over. And once again, I still see this circle is actually pretty big, so I'm going to zoom out just a teeny bit, and that way I can see the whole thing. All right, with the selection tool selected, click the path of the purple circle. Now you're going to see here that it is actually a path, and if you look over to the right here, you're going to see it's a stroke, a really big stroke weight. We can't go in and erase part of that. Well, we can, but we can't erase like a chunk out of it here. It actually has to be, instead of a stroke, it's got to be a filled shape for us to do that, for us to erase parts of it like that. So what we can do is take a path with a stroke and turn it into a shape. Choose Object, Path, Outline Stroke. And if you take a look at it, it is now a shape. You have two circles, concentric circles, and they are a compound path. In other words, one is knocking out the other, and we can erase parts of this now. Now we'll explore how to use the eraser tool to erase parts of this shape to make it look like the frill of a dinosaur. Come over here to the knife tool, press and hold, and select the eraser tool. And then double click the eraser tool. And we're just going to set one thing here. Change the size to about 30. Now you can do this out there if you want to using keyboard shortcuts, but we're going to start here. Click OK. And come up over here and you're going to just move between by dragging in between these two lines here to erase parts of it. You can see if that was still a stroke, a path, you couldn't do that. All right, now we're going to repeat this around the circle all the way around here. I'm going to kind of go up. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is the frill of a dinosaur. You know what I mean? So just go out and keep doing this. And yes, we could draw one of these things and go out and duplicate it and rotate it and all that stuff. But this is actually kind of fun just to give it a little more unique characteristics. All right, one more. All right, one more here. And then what we'll do is we'll go in and we're going to erase the bottom part down here. So come down here and just go up like this and erase all this and let go. And what's interesting is you'll see it looks like it erased the lines there, but if you let go, it didn't. It only erases what's selected, which is really cool. Now that you've done some simple erasing here, we're going to erase in a straight line. Press the space bar to access the hand tool and drag in the document window so you can see the partially completed dinosaur over here. Select the selection tool and click on the nose horn here. Choose View, zoom in a few times just so you can see it a little closer, maybe once or twice. All right, double click the eraser tool and we're going to change the size to make it a little smaller, make it about 20. And then click OK. All right, come on over here. We're going to erase in a straight line. So press the Shift key and drag across. Now, once again, it looks like it's erasing everything, but it's only going to erase what's selected. Release the mouse button and then the key, and you've just erased in a straight line. Go ahead and save your file, and the next thing we'll do is assemble the first dinosaur. Let's assemble the first dinosaur. So choose View, Fit Artboard and Window so you can see that first artboard here. Selection tool selected. I want you to drag the purple shape onto the head over here, and you're going to put it down somewhere down here. I actually kind of forget where it goes, to be honest. I think it's right about there. Drag the green group of shapes out here so you can put it down here. And we're going to go somewhere. You can go just about anywhere you want with this, but I think we'll go somewhere down here like this. and then drag the purple frill out here onto the outside. And, if it's in front or behind, you can use a range to change what it looks like. And there we go. Next thing we're going to do is start working on the next dinosaur to complete it, and we're going to create a compound path. Now we're going to create a compound path, which is, well, I like to think of it as a donut. You'll see what I mean. Choose from down here to Dino 2, so you can go to this artboard. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this gray circle right here, and I want to drag it into the center of the larger yellow circle here, so you can get it something like that. There we go. All right, drag across the gray circle and the yellow circle to select them both. And then choose Object, Compound Path, Make. If you look what it does, it takes the center circle and punches it out of the yellow circle, making what looks like a donut or a ring. Okay, drag this group of lines to the left on top of it. That's for the eye, and get it pretty centered. There we go. Drag across them and group them together by choosing Object Group. Deselect by clicking somewhere and save your file. We'll start by creating a shape so that we can combine them with some other shapes that are already out here. All right, to swap the fill and the stroke of the shape that you're going to create, click the Swap and Fill Stroke buttons down here. Now what's interesting is, and I missed it, I'll click on it, there we go. We now have stroke as yellow and fill as none. That way when we draw something, that's what it'll have. All right, press and hold on the rectangle tool and select the polygon tool. Come on over here, and what I want to do is from the center, you're going to see center right here, drag out. And what you want to do is as you drag, press the down arrow a few times so that we get a triangle. 3 sides, there we go. Drag until the shape is as wide as the gray triangle guide, right there. Press the Shift key to straighten it, and release the mouse button, then the key. And we've got our shape to start with. All right, to make it as big as the gray triangle here, drag the top bounding point down and snap it to there. There we go. And the bottom here, drag it up. There we go. That looks pretty good. And now we are ready to work with what's called the Shape Builder tool to combine all these things to make part of the dinosaur. The first method you'll use for combining shapes is to use the Shape Builder tool. This is actually a really fun tool to use. Select the Selection tool and drag across the yellow paths you made right here. Don't worry about the guide path, that gray path, it won't select. Change the stroke weight to 5 point. So you can increase the stroke weight here to 5, make it kind of big. And we'll change the stroke color to a color named orange. Should be right there. There we go. That way we can see it a little easier. All right. Select the Shape Builder tool in the toolbar. Come on out here, and what we're going to do is we're going to combine a few of these. So just drag through, let go, and you just combine those 2 areas into one single shape. Now we're going to go and delete some parts. So what I want you to do is come here, and I want you to press the Option key on Mac or Alt key on Windows, and make sure that you go into the middle of this shape. It's really hard to do. What I'm going to do is zoom in just a little bit by pressing Command plus or Control plus. Option key rather, or Alt key on Windows, come into the middle, and you're going to see it highlight in the middle. I'm going to zoom in a little more so you can see it. Option right in the middle, not the stroke, but the middle. All right, there we go. Click. Do the same thing on the right. Come into the middle, click with the Option key or Alt key held down. All right, come down here, Option key held down. We're going to go through this stuff and get rid of it. So drag through Option or Alt key held down. Let go of the mouse, then the key. Same thing up here. We're going to get rid of these. Option key or Alt key, drag through, and we've got ourselves a shape. You can use a bunch of different shapes you put together to create other shapes using the Shape Builder tool. All right, select the Selection tool, and now what we need to do is make sure that the stroke is the fill. So come down here and click on the Swap Fill and Stroke, and you'll see what it does. Now you'll assemble the second dinosaur. Choose View, Fit Artboard, and Window so you can see the entire artboard. With the Selection tool selected, take that eye and drag it onto the eye over here. It's going to be pretty big, don't worry about that. And then drag the nose over here onto the shape of the dinosaur. So something like that. All right, choose View, Zoom in a few times. Well, you can get a little closer here. You're going to need it. And then to arrange the orange shape behind, click Arrange and choose Send Backward, so it sends it back one object at a time, as many times as you need to go back. There we go. All right, click the yellow circle around the eye. And what I want you to do is we're going to resize this. So press the Shift key and drag a corner, and we're going to make it pretty small. Mine's going to be super small. Now I'm resizing it from the other direction, but that's totally okay. Something like that. Release the mouse button and the key, and then drag it into place. Now you might want to make it a little smaller yet. It's up to you. To make a copy over here, Option drag on Mac or Alt drag on Windows and put it just to the right here. Let go of the mouse and the key, and you've got yourself a dinosaur. Deselect by clicking somewhere and save your file. A favorite way of mine to combine things is to use what's called Pathfinder effects, and you'll see what I mean by them. Choose 3 Dino 3 down here, and we're getting close. We've got this last dinosaur to finish here. Drag across the 3 shapes you see right here to select them. Whoops, there we go. And we're going to combine them together. So with the shapes selected, in the Pathfinder section of the Properties panel over here, click on Unite. That's going to combine these into a single shape. The problem is, it's permanent. You can't move the separate shapes anymore or do anything like that. We don't want that. We're going to do something a little different here. So choose Edit, Undo, Add. Sometimes you want it to be permanent. Sometimes you're like, yeah, that's it. That's what I want. But in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to say, I want to make it so it's not permanent. Now we'll try that a little different way using what are called shape modes. It's going to seem the same, but it's a little different. With those shapes still selected, come over here and instead of just clicking on Unite, press Option on Mac or Alt on Windows and click the Unite button. Now it's going to kind of look the same. You're going to see the outline. It's a shape, but you can still see the individual shapes. What you just did was you just applied a shape mode. Click somewhere away to see the final shape, and then double-click the black stroke to enter isolation mode. You can now go in and edit them. Click the edge of the top shape here so you can select it, and then drag the center point down a little bit so it's a little bit shorter. I'm going to go kind of short here. We don't have to go that short, but pretty short. And you can see that if you press the Escape key, you exit the isolation mode, and you can now see the outside here. It's still separate shapes. Click away, and then click to select it again. You want to click on the edge. Now, if you're done, if you're like, I don't want to move the separate shapes anymore, I really just want to have the one shape, you can do what's called Expand the Appearance. Under Object, you'll see Expand Appearance. That could just say Commit to it. Okay, so click Expand Appearance, and that's it. It's the same thing as clicking on that button we had, the Unite button we had before. All right, change the fill color in the properties panel. We're going to go to a fill color of something like aqua, and I think I've got it in here somewhere. There we go. And then change the stroke weight to 0 to remove it. And we've got ourselves our dinosaur head. Paths like this one can actually be reshaped really easily, and I'll show you how to do it. Make sure the smart guides are on. Go under view, and you should see smart guides with a check mark. If you don't see the check mark, choose them, and they're on. The selection tool selected, click the light green path in the middle of the artboard here and zoom into it by pressing Command and plus on Mac or Control and plus on Windows. This will be easier to see them. All right, we're going to use a tool called the Reshape tool, which is not in the toolbar, so we've got to add it. So click on Edit Toolbar. You should somewhere find the Reshape. There it is. Drag that onto the Rotate tool if you see it. All right, there it is right there. And let go, and it's now there. Press the Escape key to hide them. Now what you can do is you come over to the path and we can reshape this thing. So come over to the middle and just drag to the left and let go. This reshape tool is really cool. You can just go in and do all kinds of reshaping. Come over to the end and just drag to the left a little bit to give it a little bit of a lean and let go, and you've got yourself a reshaped, partially done path. To make this path look like it's more like a leaf or something like that, we can actually use the width tool to expand it in certain areas. So select the width tool over here in the toolbar, and with the path selected, move the pointer over the middle of the path right here, and you're going to see that there's actually a point already there. Come down a little bit, and when you see a plus next to the pointer, drag. You're going to see you can change the width here. Go skinny, go fat, that kind of thing. So go a little bit and let go. And I think I said 0.4, something like that. And then move your pointer away and you're going to see what it looks like. And you just created a variable width stroke on a path. That means it's variable. It's different. Click in an empty area to deselect the point. And then move the pointer anywhere over the path. And you're going to see that width point again right there. See it? So you can actually select it and move it if you wanted to. Drag it up and down. And you'll see the effect on the path. So we'll come maybe I'll put it up here. That's fine. All right, now we can take something like this point, and you're going to see these little handles right here. You can actually pull them closer so this comes to a point. So double click over the point, and we're going to change the total width right here to 0. So there we go. You can see what it does. Kind of cool. Click OK. Move the pointer over the bottom anchor. Do the same thing. Double click. I'm going to make that 0. So we give it a little bit of a large taper, I guess you could call it. All right, click OK. Move the pointer over the original width point. Mine happens to be up here. I'll drag it down a little bit to match the book. Come over a handle, the end, and drag, and you can make it bigger or smaller or whatever you want to do here. So make it a little bit bigger. All right, change the stroke color over here to black. And the next thing we're going to do is finish the dinosaur. Last thing we'll do here is to assemble the last dinosaur. So choose View, Fit Artboard, and Window so you can see everything. And with the selection tool, what I want you to do is drag the aqua dinosaur shape over here onto the dinosaur. And we're going to put it where we want it, something like that. And then drag the black shape over here. It's going to be huge, don't worry. I want you to zoom in a few times here. So choose View, Zoom in. I'm going to use Command plus or Control plus on Windows to zoom in. And what I want you to do is shift drag this to make it smaller. And watch what happens. Look what's going on here. It's kind of crazy. It's actually keeping the stroke weight. Let go of the mouse, then the key, and change the stroke weight over here, which is almost, for me, it's like 38, 39. Change it to 19. So it'll make it a little bit thinner. All right, drag it into position. We'll put it kind of down here, something like that. And then we're going to make a copy. So Option drag or Alt drag to the other side. And what we want to do is we want to flip it. So come over here in the Properties panel and click the Flip Horizontally button to flip the shape. And I'll just nudge it over, drag it in position. And to see everything, choose View, Fit All in Window. There are your dinosaurs. Go ahead and save your file and close it.